Okay, so today I want to talk about the heart of the project manager and the foundations, the four foundations of project management. So when we talk about project managers, they are very specific kinds of people. They are a kind of a breed of a person. So when I talk about the heart of a project manager, I say they are certain types of people who make decisions certain in a certain manner. Now, the first thing that we talk about when we talk about the heart of the project manager is the contrast between the operational manager and the project manager. Now, we talk about projects versus operations later on, but let's quickly just look at the different people who work within these environments. Remember, operations are those repetitive, ongoing things that you do within an organization to, and I always say to keep the boat afloat, to make sure that the boat, is going into the right direction and that it stays in that direction and that everything keeps on working well in the key over here in the long run. That's operations management, operational manager. Project manager on the other side is limited time, limited resources, urgency. There's the key word, urgency. It means if you're a project manager, whatever you need to do, there's limited time, limited resources, and urgency. And we say in that urgency, because of that urgency, you do stuff in a different kind of way or in a different way. So if we say urgency, we say you think about the components of what you need to achieve in a whole different way. And we're going to talk about operations versus projects later. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I rather want to focus on the person over here. The project manager, the person. Okay, so what are we when we are, and this is not just loose, I'm just talking in a broad sense of a way. A project manager is proactive. We think things out before it happens. I always say the difference between proactive, reactive. Proactive, you walk. No, reactive, you walk, you fall in the hole, you climb out of the hole, and you walk on. Reactive, you walk, you see the hole, you jump over the hole, and you walk on. Now, so there's certain things that we think of. So the first thing, a project manager, and I'm going into I call it the foundations of project management. The four things that sort of sculpts a project manager, the foundations of project management. The four things that you always think of as you go through a project. Number one, a project manager always thinks in systems. So what do we say in terms of systems? Systems is you know what needs to be produced. You know it's complex. You know there's lots to be done in there, but you can isolate those things and you use that principle to assist you in the process of number one, planning, but also execution, monitoring, control. Everything goes around systems. You know that the output of the one is the input of another. The second thing that we talk about is we know that a project manager setting a course uses the principle of setting a course of action and then keeping to that course of action. So what are we saying? Proactive again. Now we're saying you know what you want to achieve, or you don't even, but you plan through that through maybe systems thinking, and then you know what you want to achieve, and then you set yourself on the journey to get there, to go and do that. So that's the second foundation. The third foundation in project management is that we as project managers understand the link between time, cost, and then quality or scope or what you need to produce. And that is something very important. That is something that we say that we use right from the beginning of the project, right through the planning process, right through the execution process, and right through delivering and handing off the project. We always think and know the influence of one of these other components to the other two, or two of them to one, or the others to the others. No? So there's a very big link between these three components, and we know that that's the single biggest driving force for your decisions that you make within the project as a project manager. And then the last one we know is we are dealing with a cross-functional environment. We are saying is, yes, the operations manager has got the different things to think of, but the project manager really works very much across functions, organizations, even international lines, and you need to pull those functions and organizations and those cross functionality. The challenge of the cross functionality, you need to be able to work with that, to understand that, and to apply that so that you can deliver your projects better. So later on, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about these 4 foundations in a bit more detail, because they are very, very important. They are the things that drive the mind of the project manager. So I very much believe in that anybody can be a good project manager. I'm saying anybody. Yes, you might not have the interest for that, but the 4, if you apply the 4 foundations to what you are doing, and you can link everything that we're going to talk about in project management, you can link it somewhere to those 4 foundations. Even something like project leadership, you can say, but that is linked to the cross-functionality of projects and the way the project manager have to deal with people from different places, different functions to make a success of the project. Everything you can link back to those 4 foundations.